Hello again and welcome back to our course on Project 2019. In this section, I'm going to look at help. And for those of you who have used Project before, help in Project 2019 is a little bit different in terms of how it works. And in line with virtually all other modern major software products, you're very much restricted on help if you're not online. So I'm going to demonstrate help offline in a little while, but let's start with online. And let's start with how you access help. Now, as I pointed out earlier on in the course, if you see this little question mark icon up here, it's a help link. And you can either click on help or you can use the F1 keyboard shortcut. In fact, in Project 2019, it's probably a better idea to get used to using the F1 keyboard shortcut because quite often you don't see the question mark icon. But let me click on the icon now anyway. And that takes me to a new browser and to the help homepage. Now, the options you have here may differ to mine depending on what browser you're using. So for the record, I'm using Chrome. The help homepage has a list of what it calls the top categories. Each item in the list is expandable, so get started, for instance. If I click on that, it gives me a number of options. So I've got basic tasks in project, create a new project schedule, etc. You can choose one of those, so let's say basic tasks in a project, and it will take me to either the help page or in this case through to another menu from which I can select further options. Having arrived at this page, there may well be links to other help pages, and the help is basically browser based. So I can use my browser buttons to go back just by clicking the back arrow. And if we just go forward again by clicking the go forward button, I could use the links at the top here to navigate. So if I want to get back to get started, I can click on the get started link to take me back to that page. So that's back to the home page with the top categories listed again. And whichever topic I'm on, I have the option to print the topic using the print facility within the browser. So let's click the three dots in the top corner there, and I can print any of these pages using the print button. And very importantly, within the help system, there is a search facility. So maybe you want to know how to, for example, enable or disable the entry bar. So type in entry bar and press enter. And you'll see a list of topics related to the search term. It's worth noting that this search within Office Help will search across all applications for the search term, not just Microsoft projects, so watch out for that one. Incidentally, in this particular case, you might like to just note this second entry here. So under the heading Keyboard Shortcuts for Project, you'll see there it says activate the entry bar to edit text in a field. And then it says F2, so F2 is the toggle to turn off and on that entry bar. So if you don't currently see it in your version of Project 2019, just hit the F2 key and that will bring that entry bar up. Now let's quickly go back to home, so I'm just going to click the back button on my browser. Now I'm not going to go through these help topics now, but I suggest that with Get Started, you make a point of going through some of these basic topics. Obviously, I'm going to cover these topics during the course. And in most cases, I'll be covering things in much more detail than the help does, but it's always a good idea to get a different view on these topics and of course, to get the official Microsoft view. So do try to find some time to go through these help topics, perhaps going through them as we cover them on the course. Now, when we've finished using help, all we need to do is close the browser tab. So I could click the little cross in the top corner of the tab. Or alternatively, if I just want to close the whole browser down, I can use the cross in the right-hand corner. Now, there are some situations where you can access help in different ways. So far, we've looked at accessing help by clicking on the question mark button, which takes you to the external Microsoft Help website, but you can also access help from within the project window also. So let's create a new blank project. And I'm going to press the F1 key. And what happens here is that a pane opens up on the right-hand side of the screen, and the options look fairly similar to what we saw in the web browser version of Help. So from here, we can browse the categories. So Get Started, for example, and I have access to all of my help information this way as well. We could also use the search facility at the top. So if I click in the search bar, and let's search for entry bar again, and click the magnifying glass. And this time we get links to help that are all related to Microsoft Project only. It doesn't search for the term across all Microsoft applications. So essentially, this is a much more targeted search than the previous option. And of course, if I click these three dots, I get some other further options, including one that will jump me back to home. Now, a couple of other things to tell you about. One of them is what happens if you're not connected to the internet. So let me just show you that. I'm going to disconnect from the internet. So now I no longer have an internet connection. I'm going to press the F1 key. And you'll see that I get a message that says, sorry, something went wrong. Please check your network connection and try again. In previous versions of Project, there was something different there, and I think it provided you with a little bit further help with regards to finding items on the ribbon. But at the time of recording this, if you're offline in 2019, you don't get any help at all. So the last thing I want to show you about help is the new feature, Tell Me What You Want to Do. And this was a feature that was introduced in Project 2016, and it continues through to Project 2019. This, as I understand, will improve and become more comprehensive over time. We're very much dealing with a reasonably early version of this feature, so let me just give you a quick demonstration of it. So let's suppose that there's something that you want to do and you don't remember where the command is that does it, so perhaps you're not quite sure how you should go about doing it. Let's suppose that you want to set a baseline. Now, setting a baseline may mean nothing to you at all at this moment, but let me just click in that box and type Set Baseline. Now, as I do that, it recognizes all or part of what I'm typing, so it gives me some options. Set baseline, show baseline, set reminder, show slippage, so on and so forth. As I do that, I may say to myself, set baseline, that's what I want to do. And then there's a little pop-out menu which says set baseline or clear baseline. Now, if that's exactly what I want to do, if I click on that option, it brings up the relevant dialog box. And if I know how to use that dialog, I can actually go ahead and do it and set my baseline. And of course, there is a help link there as well at the bottom of that dialog box. Note that with some of these help links, they have a button with the word help in rather than just a question mark, so just be aware of that as well. And in this case though, if I click on this help button, it's contextual. So some of them are and some of them aren't. Most of them aren't, unfortunately. Let's close that browser and go back to where we were before. So that's the new Tell Me What You Want to Do feature, or Tell Me feature as it's sometimes known, that was introduced in Project 2016 and continues through to Project 2019. As it evolves, I think it could become a really useful feature. I think we're still kind of at the fairly early stages of it with Project 2019, but please give it a try. That's it on help. I will see you in the next section.